On today's and probably the last episode I make when I make this first batch of episodes, because 7 episodes is a good, trial package, I guess, to see what people think about this series. We're talking about projectile priority and attack priority. When it comes to projectiles, there's 5 different types of projectiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and anomalous. It's easy to recognize the first 4 strengths as just numbers because that's all they are. They're just kind of strengths. While anomalous projectiles just kind of go through each other and ignore all other projectiles in the game. It's pretty simple. If 2 projectiles collide at the same power, they both cancel each other out. And if one's stronger than the other, then that one is cancelled, while the stronger one just keeps going at their target. As a general rule of thumb, by the way, HP attacks tend to be the highest level out of all of them. Keep that in mind when fighting other marksmen as a marksman, because you can just barrel through the projectiles with your own projectile and not have to worry about them, even if you're a slower marksman. So to summarize projectiles, equally tiered projectiles will cancel each other out, stronger projectiles eat right through smaller projectiles and barrel through towards their target. HP attacks tend to be the highest tier projectile, meaning they cancel out all other bravery attacks. HP attacks cancel each other out because they're the exact same tier. Non-marksman characters, projectiles are extremely low in priority compared to marksman characters. That's why they're not allowed to do this tutorial in the tutorial mode. Negative EX skills are tier 4, just like HP attacks. And anomalous attacks ignore everything and just pass through all their projectiles. A lot of information here, but it all makes sense and it's not too complex. I'd recommend spending some time in practice mode and learning what your character's projectiles can and can't go through. You could also ask for help in the comments too. Anyways, we're on to physical attackers now. They follow a system called Poise. Also, marksmen are part of this, but they have the lowest poise of them all because they're projectile characters with absolutely no physical traits at all. Either way, it's just a fancy way of saying super armor. The higher the poise of your attack, the more things you'll be able to barrel right through and keep going on with your attack without being interrupted at all. HP attacks ignore this and still hit targets no matter what they're doing. The projectiles will cancel each other out still no matter who it comes from. Marksman or Vanguard, all projectiles that are HP attacks are tier 4 still. Meanwhile, with bravery attacks, the general rule is Vanguard attacks beat out assassin and specialist attacks, who are more or less equal with each other. And all physical attacks beat out magical attacks. When fighting a marksman, this doesn't just mean you can mash buttons willy-nilly and manage to land every single attack, because the poise value of the attack isn't always present during the entire attack animation. Meaning that, let's say your character's like throwing a punch. First off, they lean back, they pull their arm back, and then they throw their arm forward. Now, when they're leaning back, there's no poise, so if they get hit by a projectile, they're getting knocked away. While they're thrusting their arm forward in this hypothetical example, poise is active, meaning that even if marksman projectiles hit them and take away their bravery, their attack will still come out and hit the marksman in the face if they're in range. Now, let's say you poise through attack and you're still getting hit by the projectile. If your poise ends before the projectile dies, you'll still get hit away. Here's an example of me attacking this ace right here. I use Thunder Barret to pull him back, but then by the time the Thunder Barret ends and I'm back to neutral where I can do another attack, the projectile's still alive and hits me away. Now, at the time of this recording, no melee bravery attacks can be beaten by projectile bravery attacks. That's apt to change in the future, possibly with a new character, so keep yourself updated. That's about it when it comes down to bravery melee attacks versus projectile melee attacks. Now, what about melee versus melee? Again, Vanguards beat Assassins and Specialists, who will beat Marksmen. With a single exception, HP attacks beat every other attack. It's a bit hard to see, but if you look right here, I beat this Lightning's 4 bravery with my Mirage Dive. This little red number is proof of that. This is an example of interruption value. Interruption value determines if you're going to be able to beat another character's poise through their attack if the poise is currently active. Some characters' poise and interruption values fluctuate, usually specialists. The majority of the time, however, cut value is determined by your character's role. So let's say in that example I used a bravery attack instead of an HP attack against lightning, we probably would just sort of bonked each other and fell down. Now, more or less throughout this entire series, I've described the feeling of an attack or mechanic in the game. So I want to recommend this video right here by Mad Slingshotter about keep, cut, and poise, because it goes into the numbers of it rather than the feeling of it, and some of you might like that more instead. To end this video, let's summarize it very simply. The higher your character's weight class, the more likely you are to burn right through enemy attacks, and for your own to not be interrupted. With the exception of HP attacks, those interrupt everything. That wraps up this first season of DissidiAcademy, The Basics. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully I can answer any questions you guys have in the comments below of any of these videos. I'll see you guys next time on Blue the Hedgehog. Stay safe, don't eat your mom, and thank you for accompanying me on this journey. Doodles.